Hi friends, so a buddy of mine asked me to show how I design these cages that I use for setting up, well, I mean for designing bars and for scanning and for resetting teeth back onto the model. So the first thing I do once I have my wax up, this particular wax up is actually on locators, but you can't see right there. So once it's on locators, I'll actually snap it back onto the model. I'll put a couple of grooves all over the model. That's very important because you want something to be able to interdigitate the cage when you design it on top of the model. I'll skin that in and bring it into my 3 shape into the custom tray module. Okay, so we have the block out set at 3 degrees, and then the path of insertion, I will usually actually just make it a little bit more different than what the computer sets, just so I can have a little bit more of a grab onto the tooth. So this is probably the angle I will do for the path of insertion right about here. And we'll set it from view. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Okay, we'll go next. Now from this point, I'm not going to change anything here. And now we have a blocked out model at 3 degrees. And you see when you change the view, it blocks out a little bit below this area. If I didn't change it, it would be blocked out probably right about here. Okay. Now the base thickness, I'm going to change it to 3 millimeters. Leave it right there. No impression gap. That's at 0. So on the palatal surface, it's actually pretty easy. So we're just going to go right about here. There's no need to worry too much about how close it needs to be to the teeth because it's all pretty much done for us. Okay. And on the buccal and the facial surface, I'm going to go right about right here, just where the teeth end up stopping. Right there. So you see how I'm going where the block out is? Just so you guys understand, once the cage is done, that space is going to be right there open up. So when you position the teeth, just view the things on the palatal. That's where your best adaptation is. Okay. You can make it shorter if you wanted to, but I'd rather do it this way, and this allows me to put a little bit of wax there to grab things a little bit better and hold them in place. That's just kind of my way of doing things. But if you don't like to do that, you guys can change it any which way you want. So that's at 3 millimeters. I'm going to click next and just wait for it to render. Hopefully it will work out just fine. Usually I don't have issues with this, as you can see right there. Let's remove the model and see where we're at. Looks pretty nice. All right. So the next step I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make the tray a little bit more translucent. I'm going to choose holes, and I'm going to choose 4 by 5 millimeters on here, and I'm going to choose view direction, and I'm just going to click on my molars and premolars. These windows will allow me to see a little bit better if the tooth is all the way down, and I'm going to switch it to a slightly smaller one right here and do my canines, laterals, and centrals that way. Just a little visualization window. All right, and that looks good. Go next. And this is what it looks like at this point. Okay, so from here we're just going to finish and close this custom tray. We'll go into advanced and generate cam output. All right, and that's now we don't need 3 shape anymore, so we're going to close it. We're going to go to manufacturer directions, and we're going to open this up with mesh mixer. Okay, and we're actually going to also bring in, oh, we got a little bit of a piece that's kind of didn't work out here for some reason. Actually is in our way, but there's actually an easy way to clean that up. So we're going to go into select, make it a little bit smaller, and we're going to just highlight that particular area right here. Okay, and we're going to delete it, And then we're going to clear selection, press I, and just auto repair all. Fix that little spot right there. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bar right here. What I've done in my particular design is that I've actually created these little bars and brought them into Mesh Mixer. So all I have to do now is choose Mesh Mix, choose my parts, and I got all these parts in here that I could use. I think the bar is right here. Now, if you don't have that part, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to, let me just, uh, you're going to go into primitives, pick one of these, bring it in here, and shape it the way you want to, and then add them to your parts right here. I can show you guys later how to get that done in a different video. All right, but for now, let's bring this bar. So let's edit. So let's do T, which is stands for, I press T, which stands for transform. Change that to this different orientation a little bit. Bring this into the area which I want. For some reason, when I do this, it doesn't work very well. So L means for local, W means for world. Sometimes I have to click one or the other for it to actually give me the shape that I need. But I haven't figured out, for some reason, it doesn't always work for me. But I can always make it smaller and it ends up, it's not pretty, but it actually will hold things in place. So what you're trying to do is you adding that bar so it's not showing through anywhere on this or this tooth. It's just a little reinforcement bar, so when you print it, it doesn't actually interfere with things, okay? So from here, I'll select this, press Shift and select this one, and do Boolean Union. And if you see purple and orange, you're good. Press Accept. And now it's all a single file. Let's join together. Okay, at this point is I'm going to import the file from the desktop on upper test setup is the file we're using. So now we have this right here for the lower model. So now I need to add things to actually to have 3 or 4 little legs to hold things in place with this particular model. So the way we're going to do it, let's move this right here. Once again, we're going to do Mesh Mix. And we're going to go into My Parts. And I've created a little part like this. That works out pretty good for me. Like I said before, if you don't have that part, then you just have to create something that will work that way in Mesh Mixer. And what I'm doing here is I'm trying to align this part where it's going to be sitting in one of these areas on the model. Right there. But at the same time, you have to be careful not to go through all the way. Now, you see, it doesn't really matter if it goes through all the way on the wax portion because the wax portion is not going to be there. But it does matter if it goes through all the way on the tooth portion. So let's see what we got so far. Let me go in here. So if you open this object browser a little bit wider and you click on this eye, it actually will take the model away that you don't not using. So here we can see that from this point the tooth is not covered anymore. But if we bring the model in, we're still doing good on the model. Okay. Okay. Actually, let me adjust the thickness of this a little bit more and rotate it so it's not. Okay. Let's take a look here. No, it's too much. See, it's showing through again. Have to be careful by doing this. That should work. Let's take a look. See. Yeah, that's good. I got enough space here where it's holding everything in place. All right, and if you like the shape here, so let's press enter. If you like the shape, what you can also do is you can make a couple of duplicates of the same area, okay? But for now, what I need to do is I need to actually join this file and this file together, okay? So I just clicked on this one, press shift and clicked on this one, and now I'm going to press Boolean Union again, and it looks good. Press accept. Looks great again. So I'm going to select a copy at this point, press T again, and I'm going to take this copy and bring it somewhere in this area, right? I'm not sure. Did I was cut here? I do. I'm actually going to use this area right here. I'm going to rotate this out, bring this up, bring this out again to make sure that I'm not interfering. I am a little bit, so let's bring it out just a little bit more. Okay, that looks good. Press enter again. Let's take a look here. I'm doing good on the model. Okay. And now we're going to select this one, shift select this one, Boolean Union again, accept. Great, looks great. All right, let's grab another copy, and we're going to move this over here, rotate it around like this, bring it down. Oops. All right, let me take a look here. Just a little bit this way. All right, looks good. Good position on the model again. All right, enter. Then select this, join it all together, and accept. Now we have 3 points. We got one more point we want to add. We're just going to move that point right here. Okay, that looks like a good position on the model. Not a great position. Let's kind of change it a little bit. Right about here. A little bit higher. Even doesn't look that great. Okay, let's drop it down just a little bit. That should work. All right, let me take a look. Make sure there's no interference. We got proper connection. Excellent. All right, enter. So now we're going to connect the last leg. Make sure that's working. I'm a little worried that one of these positions is not perfect, but we'll take a look. So now we need to remove this model from this model so we have nice little cutouts on these legs so it can be positioned nice and exact to the model. But if I just do select this one and do this one and I'll do a Boolean difference, you'll see that it's going to give me an error because these two things are connected too precisely, and it's going to cause issues in mesh, one separating from the other. But there's a really easy fix to this. Actually, I'm just going to press cancel because you see how this error will come out. So let's just press cancel. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hide this file, and in this file I'm going to cut as much of the model on the tooth portion as I don't because I don't need that area. So I'm going to press S for select, and I'm going to select all of this. And you'll see here in a minute why. Okay. Do I need to actually clean this up a little bit? I don't need to delete all of this. If I delete too much, sometimes it creates more issues than it's worth. So I'm going to erase this. I'm pressing the shift button and I'm clicking on the mouth for selection, and it actually just unselects things when I do this. I'm just trying to be extra cautious here to make sure it works. All right, let's I also press O and B to make a selection a little bit more uniform. And then I just delete it and I clear selection. Okay. So at this point, you see what I have is I just have these 4 points connecting these two models. So if I do this and press shift and select this one and do Boolean difference, it should theoretically um, separate fairly easily um, without causing any issues, as you can see right there. So this is exactly what happened. I can just press accept. And now I have a file, an STL file, which I just have to export. And I end up with a cage, which I can print. And I recommend you guys print it in this direction right here. So all the deformities kind of, not deformities, but all the supports will be on this side. So all of this is going to be clean. So you can put this onto the model very easily. Okay. So that's pretty much how I design my cages. Now, if you have Exocad, I'm pretty sure you guys can probably figure out and do this all in one software. But if you're like me and you use 3Shape, this is the workaround that I have found to use for my particular designs. Okay, I hope this has helped you guys. And as always, good luck and see you in the next video.